Hey guys, Pockets here. Welcome to the Mythic Tectus Guardian boss guide. This one's going to be a little different because obviously I'm not playing Feral, and the reason for this is not because our tank was absent and I had to fill in, but because you'll do more damage 3 tanking as Guardian than you will if you 2 tanked as Feral. And this is not so much because Feral's bad at this fight. It is bad at this fight, but it's more so that because Guardian is pretty ridiculous. You can obliterate the adds in the last phase because Thrash does so much damage, and you can actually do really respectable damage in the first and second phase if you play it correctly. So that's why I'm Guardian for this fight, not for any other reason. So if you can convince your guild to let you go Guardian for this and just tank whatever they think is appropriate, maybe you'll tank nothing, or maybe you'll tank just, you know, the hollowed husk targets, or whatever they're called, like I did, then go ahead and do that. So to go over talents, I basically chose Feline Swiftness and Cenarian Ward as the movement and healing options. I took Incarnation as in the 60 tier, which that tier doesn't really matter. You can kind of take whatever because they're all kind of pretty bad. But I'll explain why I took Incarnation later. And then in the 100 tier, I took Guardian of Elune. Pulverize is pretty terrible, just because the only time I actually have 3 lacerates on something that I could pulverize off, I'm never actually tanking anything. So the damage reduction doesn't do me anything, and if you pulverize your lacerates off the target, you're actually losing damage. So there's no reason you'd ever use that when you're not tanking something. So it's just terrible in this fight, and Bristling Fur also terrible. So that's talents. So I'm going to get into the pull here. So you'll see I'm using a bonus armor pre-pot, and I run in, and I thrash, and then get my 3 stacks of lacerate. I'm doing this just for the dot damage, because I'm going to go into cat form here. While you're doing that, you want to try to get as many mangles in as you possibly can. So I'm in cat form now. Immediately, as soon as you're out of the cat form GCD, you want to use Berserk, Heart of the Wild, and hit your use trinket if you have one. The Twins use trinket is really good. The Mastery use for more attack power, really good for this. And then your rotation is basically just going to be shred to 5 common points, hit a ferocious bite with 50 energy, rinse and repeat until Heart of the Wild's over. One thing to mention is, because there's a bug with Ferocious Bite, you want to make sure you have at least 37.5 energy when you hit your Ferocious Bite during Berserk, because otherwise it will not do full damage, so keep that in mind. And basically you're going to keep shredding here until shredding and Ferocious Biting until Heart of the Wild's about to end, and then when you have no more energy to finish shred, then you're going to switch back to bear form. So once you're in bear form, you put your Thrash up, and then you do the whole Guardian mangle, and if your mangle's on cooldown, you spam lacerate. Pretty simple. What you'll see here is I'll intentionally try to get my first Thrash to hit as many adds as possible, and when my second Thrash needs to happen, I want to try to make sure that I hit all the adds in the new wave that comes out at that time as well, which I happen to do here. You're not going to need to refresh Thrash a 3rd time because the boss is going to be dead by then, pretty much. So then we go into the second phase, and I'm tanking Tectus. You might do this a little differently, but that's what we decided to do here. I tank all the husks, or whatever they're called. And basically at this point, I'm basically just going to keep spamming Thrash, as long as there's 3 targets. And you'll see I refresh the lacerate there, because why not? It's already at 3 stacks. I chain my Savage Defense, and fill him with Cenarian Ward and Maul to tank Tectus there. From here on, I'm tanking the big adds. Or not the big adds, I'm tanking the adds that come in, the small guy and the big guy, and the small guy doesn't really do much. The earthen fletch, it's hit pretty hard, but not really that much of a concern. Make sure you face it away from the raid, obviously. The big guys do hit kind of hard, so that's basically when I'm using all my Savage Defense charges, and then I just spam Maul to burn off my Maul charges, Tooth and Claw charges on him as well. And you can, Snare and Ward or Frenzied Regen if you need to stay alive. The reason I take Incarnation on this fight, you can actually see here. I basically just take it just so I can have spammable taunt, because it's kind of hard to get these adds picked up. At least you could spam Fairy Fire on them, but then you're losing a lot of damage, whereas you can just spam Growl on them, make sure they get in, and then keep spamming that Thrash and get lots of damage. So here I'm basically just spamming Thrash anytime there's 3 targets. You'll see here both the adds die, and I'm going to go into my single target where I'm keep Mangle on cooldown, and then put the lacerates on both the targets. Here we're finishing them off. I'm calling for Star to get burned, and when they're getting finished off, you're going to have another add wave coming in. So I'm taunting those. And here you want to get ready for the last phase. So you'll see what I do intentionally here is I got hit really hard. I probably would normally Savage Defense, but I actually Frenzied Regen because I really want my 2 Savage Defense charges ready for when I get aggro on all these adds and start getting wrecked. So as soon as all these adds are up, I go start spamming Thrash like fucking crazy. That's the only thing I do for the rest of the fight. I hit my pot, I hit my armor trinket for more damage, and I'm just spamming Thrash, spamming Thrash. First thing you want to do, as soon as you're in threat of dying, you hit your Savage Defense. And then after that, you can hit another Savage Defense, or you can hit a Survival Instincts just whenever you're in threat of dying again. It's pretty simple. So from there, you just weave Savage Defense, Survival Instincts, the whole time spamming Thrash like crazy. And you can look at the damage meter. I'm doing insane damage. I did 4.7 million damage to these adds. Insane damage. If you run out of Survival Instincts or you run out of Savage Defense charges, then you probably want to call for a healer external if you still have all the adds on you. But that's about it. You can also throw up a Cenarian Ward when that happens, and that helps a lot because it'll do a couple 100,000 healing because you've got tons of vengeance. And then here I coined a weapon. Yay! So that's the Tectus Mythic boss guide as Guardian and DPS, if you want to call it that. If you found the video helpful, toss me a like, toss me a follow. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching.